Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me on a lovely afternoon to come out to Mountune for an update on the progress with my Focus RS, the project car that they have now been working on hard for a number of weeks. So we're going to head inside for an update on the car. It's currently in pieces, as you can imagine, but that means we can get up close and personal and see some of the original parts and some of the new parts that are going in. Then I'm also going to go out for a test drive in this car, Mountune's development car that has many of the updates that are being done to mine as well. And then after that, I've also had my Ford GT delivered here to Mountune, ready for me to drive it back on home, following getting that noise fixed from the front end. So today, we're going to see the red edition, see how it's getting on, go for a test drive in the Mountune car, and then drive the GT back on home. So let's get started then and head straight in to take a look at how the RS is doing. Just by way of a quick reintroduction to this car, because we saw it on the channel when I came here to Mountune to drop off the Focus RS to get these modifications started. But this car is their development car. They've done a lot of work to it, and a lot of that work is what is now being done to mine. So for example, the 2.3 litre EcoBoost is now turned up to the M400 specification, 400 horsepower instead of the standard 350. You can see that this car also has the Mountune intercooler at the front. You've got new wheels, you've got wider arches, you've got a new exhaust system. It's pretty heavily changed, believe me, and I do apologise for the cement noises from the facility in the background beside us here, but this car is menacing, it is mean, and it is really cool. But let's head inside the workshop now and go and have a look at mine and how it is getting along with the work that they're doing. As we come to the workshop, I can spot the red and gold. The GT is back, so I haven't actually driven the Ford GT for around 3 or 4 weeks now, so naturally I am very excited to get this car back on the road later on. It looks awesome under their lights that they have in here. And then down towards the far end is the red Focus, so let's come straight on through and go and take a look at this, and of course active workshop, but I can see lots of the parts right in front of me and take you on a quick little tour around what is being done. So the front end all completely removed. In fact, there is basically the front assembly. We'll run through that in a second. The bumper is sitting up there, as are some of the components that have been taken out of the car. So this is one complete removal. You can see where there is the current lack of intercooler, as we just saw in the car outside, but that's the normal radiators for the aircon and the light that you have behind, and then the crash structure as well. So that's all removed, and the engine can then be worked on right here, but you can see it is basically completely dismantled. Now, Mountune do a lot of these, basically rebuilding it from the ground up, reinforcing and strengthening just about every component. So the whole top section, the top assembly is removed. It gets a new head gasket. Of course, lots of jokes about the older Focus RS is suffering from those, but everything cleaned out, strengthened, reinforced. And the sump is also taken off from the bottom. Obviously, to do this, it's all been disconnected in terms of the battery and the wiring loop and everything like that. So from the original car, original parts, you've got the camshafts here, you've got the Conrods and pistons, and then you've got the cylinder head as well. So we can see all of this in a way that you don't normally get to see from your car. And if we come through here to some of the new parts, take a look at this. These are the 4 new Conrods and pistons, and this is one of the old ones that we just popped side by side, so I can show you this. And you can see the original cast piece and the new forged piece, and instantly how much stronger it is. And these parts basically come from the BTCC cars that Mountune are developing. So these are tried and tested in effect, much, much stronger, and basically can handle the extra power that we're going to be putting through the car, because even if you take it up to, you know, the 400 horsepower going from the standard 350, this engine is really being pushed to the limits. If you think about it, a 2.3 litre engine pushing out that much power, 4-cylinder, as of course you can see. And then if you want to take it up even more, remember we're intending to take this towards 500, if not more than 500 horsepower. Just think about that. A Ford Focus with 500 odd horsepower, that's going to be putting a lot of strain on various components of the car that are all going to need upgrading. Maybe we'll move to the gearbox as well, the brakes, those kind of things. But of course, from an engine perspective with new turbos, more on which we can talk about soon, not quite yet. It's still very much work in progress here in Mountune, so they're not fully ready to show that, but I will be able to tell you all about that when the time comes. You can imagine that it's absolutely critical to make sure everything is properly done. But it is quite odd seeing the car just floating here without a front end on it, with my BBS CIR wheels hanging down as well, ready and waiting for more components to be installed and more to be done. So this is a bit of an update for now. pretty much everything I think I can show you at this stage, which is really interesting to actually see what's going on and what they're doing with the various different parts and components that are hanging around from the car. This can only mean it is now time for the development car, which of course I am very excited to drive. It's a pretty special opportunity that Mountune are letting me drive their test car that they use for development and testing itself of their new products. I'm also quite intrigued because this is running all of the upgrades and modifications that mine is going to have. So all of the internals that take it up to the M400 package, and then the new turbo for the added extra oomph that we're going to experience. So I'm going to jump in now. We'll take a listen to how this car sounds when starting it up, and then get a feel for what it's like to drive. And when I brought the car in originally and we saw this for the first time, lots of you guys thought this car looked awesome in the stealthy satin grey with the different upgrades you can see, new exhaust system, the 500 badge. What might that signify? Who knows? New wheels as well, the kind of bronzy colour wheels, which work very nicely against this colour. But let's jump in, take a step in here. We've also got Mountune's control box as well, a new gear shifter, and get this car started up just quickly. Yeah, burbles. Lots and lots of burbles. This is going to be quite fun. So I'm going to take it out for a short little drive, just a teaser, because I don't want to spoil the fun completely for my car when it's finished. It's getting louder as well. But just to get a small sense of what it's like to drive. I tell you what, even just sitting here with the engine idling, you can tell there are more vibrations. It feels more aggressive. If I pop the window down for a sec and put it up into sport mode, and okay to confirm that, it just has a sense that there's going to be a lot of power out of it. We've got a shorter throw on the shifter than you have in the standard car. Let's go explore with this, because I suspect it's going to be quite an entertaining little thing to drive. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that coming. That pop almost immediately off the back of the exhaust there. Okay then. Wow. I'm barely pressing the throttle. Let me close the window just so it's not quite so windy in here. This feels... it feels like it's going to be really, really quick. Like Pocket Rocket Eat Your Heart Out quick. Like really, really, really fast, despite being quite a small little car. And one good thing about coming to a stop on a national speed limit road is that I am going to get to do a little acceleration to get a feel for it. So, let's go. Wow. The turbo feel. It launches. I'm just giving small presses because the power comes so much quicker than I'm used to in a car that, well, the car itself I am quite used to. The steering wheel, the seating position, all of that stuff, except it makes a lot of turbo noises and it goes really quite quickly. What's the rule then when you approach a tunnel? Window down. That's ridiculous. That's only 4,000 revs. It's really quick. What a lovely road and what a lovely day. It's just endless bangs. But on a small twisty road, this is where hot hatches and small cars are just so much more fun. And then this thing, this would be an absolute Nürburgring machine. I am gonna so much enjoy driving mine on the Nordschleife. I don't know, it makes me have to stop a bit because I'm not expecting it, because I'm used to what the Focus RS normally does, so it's taking me by surprise when it lurches forward as dramatically as this car actually does. Yep, small narrow road, that guy didn't want to slow down at all, but you just wait a bit, you get that spurt of turbo, and away the car launches and pulls away, and so much fun to downshift it as well, especially with the sound it's making, and the bangs you get out of the back. One thing I'm trying to get used to is it goes through the top end of the rev range ever so quickly. It just blasts through those last couple of thousand revs when the turbos kick in and you get that extra spurt of power driving back into the sun now, which is nice as well. It's everything I love about the Focus RS in a car that is extraordinarily quick. I would love to actually do something like a launch control and time it or measure it and see what this car does, because it's frantic. It's absolutely frantic. Yes, this much power in the four-wheel drive system, but still with a little bit of front bias. You do feel torque steer as a result, but I don't think you're ever going to avoid that with this, well, 500 odd horsepower going through a car like this. It's absolutely hilarious fun. There is no better way to describe it on tight, twisty roads. And then back towards the little tunnel, window down, second gear, even there, bang, bang, a little bit of throttle. It's so silly. Wow. Yeah. My inner hooligan is very much coming out and having a good time with this car right now in sport mode. So part of the reason why I'm doing these modifications is because I want to make the car just sheer fun. You know, just to make it a car that is both incredibly quick, it's going to be a Nordschleifer car, but also puts a beaming smile on your face every time you're behind the wheel of it, by making it dramatic, by making it exciting, by making it unusual, by making it different. And if mine turns out like this, that is going to be mission success in the best possible way. This thing is so fun and entertaining. It's exactly what I wanted the car to be. Just a combination of the feel of the torque and the turbo, the power delivery, combined with the noise of the exhaust system. You know, first gear, little pull here. Wow. You do hold on a bit, obviously, the way it's tugging at the steering wheel. But it makes it hilarious. It's so much fun. Oh, I would love to be blasting this around the Nordschleifer. I can just picture it now. Bring it on. And it is time to return. So what you have to think about is that this car is only about 150 odd horsepower less than the Ford GT. In a Ford Focus, it's ridiculous. I'm just being careful of the front nose here. I'm gonna take this one back into the workshop. But the sounds it makes and the power, yes, okay, it's a big turbo, there's some turbo lag going on, but you know that if you put this amount of power in it. Quick beep, just to get the shutter opened up. I mean, yeah, wow. This has been pretty cool. Let's take it back into the workshop. Back inside the workshop then, I was just having a chat really about this car, because you have to remember it is still the development car. It is not quite finalized. It will be finalized by the time they finish the work as well on my RS, but this is really at the top end of what you can do with the standard chassis inside the Focus RS. Of course, it might have slightly less torque in the final configuration, which will change the feeling of the torque steer, that side of things, but all I can say is that was a lot of fun. There's a lot of power there. What you have to think about is that this car is running about 150 horsepower less than the Ford GT. That's moderately ridiculous when you think about it in a family hatchback. Now, there are other modifications you can make. You can make the car lighter, you can upgrade the brakes. Of course, we've changed the wheels already on mine to the BBS wheels, but I'm going to be, well, saying farewell to this car for now. I will be saying farewell as well to my red RS and taking the GT on to my next stop. I'm not entirely sure when we'll be back for the next update. Probably not in the too far future, I would think. Maybe it might even be when all is ready and completed, but I'm hoping to have it up and running ideally in time for Car Freitag at the Nürburgring. The Nürburgring kind of Easter weekend when everything opens up. So fingers crossed the guys here will have all of that set, and of course you can find out if you follow on Instagram and the likes. So for the time being, I think they need to shuffle a few cars around. I'm going to be taking the GT over to my next stop. And the GT comes into life. So this car has the 3.5 litre EcoBoost V6 twin turbo. Ford EcoBoost for their engines, or in this case I think EcoBeast as we've been calling it. I love the headlights on the Ford GT, I really do. I also love just being able to see it on the move and shuffling around going outside before I will jump in and take the wheel to drive the car. Wow, I love this car. It looks so good. So good. This thing feels like a spaceship. I need to get reacquainted with it, and given there is no luggage space, I actually have my suitcase that I'm currently traveling with sat beside me. So though, let's head on out. I'm actually going first to visit my Ford dealership here in the UK. So you get the GT from the Ford GT delivery specialist as opposed to via a Ford dealer here in the UK. In the US, they're delivered through dealers themselves. Lift system, just to get over the bump here. But for us, we basically get them delivered straight to you. So you probably saw my handover day of the car at the Goodwood Motor Circuit. But my Ford dealer, where I get my Focus RSs from, hasn't actually seen the car. So I figured I would go along and show it to the guys. This is difficult, left-hand drive disadvantages. And they could see the car in person. And also, we've got the sync system, so I've got Waze on via Android Auto, which just makes life that touch easier, which is, you know, all those small things, right? That's one of the advantages of it being a Ford. Okay, just in normal automatic everything, there is a puddle and a dirty bit of road there, and this is where I'm going to be a supercar driver, because I don't want to get the car ruined and dirty right now. So let's do some weird lane manoeuvring as we go past a cement truck. Okay, so I basically feel good. We're in normal. I'm going to pop it into sport mode. Throttle just gets a touch more responsive. This thing feels ridiculous. You look in the mirrors and the view of the arches, it feels like race car. I think this is actually the most sportily, right now driving this car, that I have yet ever driven it on a countryside road. I don't think I've had it on a countryside road whatsoever. And it doesn't creak. It doesn't creak. You might remember the front rocker assembly was making a creaking noise from the dash. That all got replaced, and now it doesn't make the noises anymore. Oh yes. This is so cool. Well, this is a lovely, lovely day to be driving and enjoying the Ford GT. One thing I need to get used to though is the paddles. You actually have to be really firm on the paddles. It's kind of the opposite of the McLarens, where you just almost give a kind of finger press. On these, they need a solid pull. They don't have a click to them. They almost have some kind of like softening, dampening in the way that you pull them. It's just a totally different feel. And also the pedals. Having driven in the Focus earlier, the pedals in here are so sensitive in terms of brake pressure and throttle pressure, and just being precise with everything that you're doing. But I am nearly at the dealer in my alien spaceship, which I can't see much out of. This is the really big problem with a left-hand drive car in the UK. Oh, yes. It's so good. This is where it dials up. It's dead flat going around the corner. This thing is so cool. It's like heaven in a car. Wow. Okay, right, so we're about to arrive. I will pop on in, go say hello. We've got Fords everywhere because I think they're just closing. So my dealer, Essex Ford, is actually next to Ford's Dunton Technical Centre, home of Ford basically here in the UK. So we shall go this way, find the indicators, and kind of reminisce, because the last time I was here like this was Heritage RS Collection Day, I think. And we're back in the GT. It's turned out to be one of those days where I went from the Ford dealer, then over to Dub Customs to catch up with the boys there and just have a chit chat and talk about the car. And the afternoon has kind of blown by, and as you can see, it is now starting to get dark as well. And unfortunately, I am sitting in a traffic jam to get back into central London. Rush hour, this was never going to be a good idea. This is literally the worst possible car to be sitting in traffic jams in. Not my ideal choice of driving environment, shall we say, for one of my first outings in the Ford GT. Anyway, I did just fill it up, and as I feared, the fuel tank in this car is pretty minimal. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny tank, and it consumes a lot of fuel, which is not a winning combination for great fuel economy range, but we will discover more of that when the time comes to actually take it out on a further afield journey. For now though, I think I'm more or less going to be sitting in a traffic jam until I get back home. Unless anything changes, the next time you will see me will be in the garage. As expected, a lot of traffic, not very much excitement, but a few more miles now on the GT. In fact, this car has now got 302 miles, which means I am halfway through the run-in process. Today's been quite exciting though, getting to experience what the RS is going to be like, having a look at some of the parts, seeing the work that they're getting up to at Mountune. A big thanks to them. I cannot wait for that car and what it's going to be like during the summer season, the spring when it comes around, taking taking it out, doing some laps of the ring, and just basically having fun with it. That's exactly what it's for. Anyway, there are going to be some more videos coming up with the Ford GT, with the GT, and with the Senna as well. It was great also to catch up with the dealership, show them the car, talk a little bit more about it. But that is it for today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching, guys, and I'll be sure to catch up with you again very, very soon. Cheers!